Good evening. I'm Dr. Gus Penix, President of the Nicholas County Board of Education. I'd like to call this December the 20th, 2021 regular scheduled Board of Education meeting to order at this time. Would you please rise and join the board in having a silent reflection? Give us opportunity to reflect on those thankful and ready to be thankful, but also to clear our hearts and minds for business we don't consider here this evening. So a moment of silent reflection, please. Thank you. Would you please join the board in saluting our country with pledge allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. Item 3 on this evening's agenda. Before we get to that, board members, if you have no problems, I would like to move action or item 5A, B, C, and D, the actual vote of those items to right after we approve the minutes, and then we'll just follow the agenda after that. Is there any problems moving those up? That's so that the gentlemen that have to travel back home tonight can get on the road fairly soon. Okay? Any problems? Okay, thank you. You received the minutes for the December the 6th and 14th, 2021 meetings electronically. There was one correction. I think, Madam Secretary, you got that correction out to us this afternoon. It dealt with the 14th meeting, and just there was one correction on there. Mr. Amy was not present for that meeting, and so she corrected that and sent you another copy electronically. So, are there any questions about those minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes for meetings held on December the 6th and December the 14th, 2021 as presented? Mr. Berry moves. Is there a second to the motion? Second. Mrs. Kaufman seconds. Any further discussion in regard to the minutes for meetings held on December the 6th and 14th? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Madam Secretary, the motion passes unanimously. At this time, we're going to move to action items A, B, C, and D. Madam Superintendent and ZMM and Skanska will be discussing, I guess, those items.
So A will be, I'll make sure I move this back so the board will have an opportunity to see the board clearly. A will be the approval of construction documents for Cherry River campus to submit to the School Building Authority for approval to go to bid. And those documents were dropped off on the 15th. I advise board members that you could come in and review those prior to the meeting, so everyone's had an opportunity to inspect. And so with those bid documents, I don't know if you have anything you want to say. I mean, they're pretty. It's the same documents that this board approved last time previously, and there wasn't any changes. It's just in its final format. And if this board moves to approve those documents, it will go to the Cherry River. Final documents will go to the School Building Authority for approval. They have 10 days to make that approval. After that approval, then it can go out to bid. And we will be ready to bid the schools on the Cherry River campus.
And that bidding would occur like in early mid-January, sometime like that? Is that correct?
Bids we receive more than likely in February.
February, okay.
Probably a construction start in March.
Okay, on the Cherry River side?
Yes.
Okay.
Does that include construction and the area that's going to have to be leveled and everything?
Yeah, that would include the site work to put the retaining walls along the riverside and bring the road, the grade up to the driveway. Yes, that would include that as part of that. It's not a separate site package. The site construction and the building construction would be combined.
Will that be the same group that's working over at Glade?
No, it would have to be,
It'll have to go out to bid.
it has to be advertised and bid, publicly bid. Could be.
Any further questions in regard to action item A, approval of the construction documents for the Cherry River project? Madam Superintendent, if you want to move on to item B.
Yes, B, approval of the ZMM contract amendment number 8 for the construction testing for the Glade Creek mass grading package. That was also sent out, so I wanted it placed first, so if you have any questions, I have ZMM here who can answer those. It's something that normally would have just been placed in with the treasurer's, consent items, but I just wanted to make sure since they're here, if there's any questions.
Is that a different test than the environmental and all the other tests that were?
Yeah, it's all the compaction testing that they do on site. As the contractor develops the site, there's, Terradon will be out there doing all the construction compaction testing.
So they'll test that as it goes along?
Yes, we're out there every day with the contractor.
Okay.
Any further questions in regard to the ZMM contract amendment number 8?
Now, will they do both sites?
No.
No.
Well, they will, but there'll be a different contract amendment for the Cherry River site. Because that one will include not only the site, but will also include the building testing, concrete testing, steel tech connections, those types of things. We'll have another one for the Glade Creek building when it gets completed as well.
You think it probably will be Terradon as well?
Yeah, you all selected Terradon to do all those items, but until there are documents developed, they can't give you a price. And the way FEMA works, they can't give you a percentage. They have to give you a lump sum price. They can't even give you an hourly rate. It's a lump sum price.
Any other questions?
So the 126,710,000 includes everything at Glade, is that correct?
$126
That's not
million?
what this is about. This is
No.
about the construction testing for Glade Creek mass grading package. B is construction testing. So Glade Creek, there's the testing company will be out there, so that's what this is for. It's for testing, site testing. B, 5B.
Any further questions for either the superintendent or ZMM in regard to the documents of the Cherry River campus? I mean, yeah, the Cherry River
Glade
campus.
Creek mass
It's the
grading.
amendment number 8.
Yes.
It's Glade Creek, I'm sorry. Okay, hearing none, Madam Superintendent, item C.
Approval of the ZMM Canal Stone change order number 5. Again, you received that. I just want to make sure that, and D is an approval of the Canal Stone deduct change order of $15,000, which means $15,000 will be credited back to our bill from our invoice previously from the contractor. Again, I just wanted to make these individuals available in the event that you had any questions.
We talked about that several weeks back.
Yes.
That was on the construction fence and gate that was declined by the SBA.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it says here that a deductive order for item number 8, I can't read it very well, but it says something about a construction fence by the SBA, asked that the item not be performed, $15,000.
So what that is that was a temporary construction fence and temporary gates that were determined during construction that were not needed. Because of the operation of the site, they were able to keep the occupants of the building safe, so that additional fencing wasn't required. So because that fencing wasn't required for construction operations and school operations to occur, you get a credit of not spending that money. So that money goes back into the overall project funds.
Back in the kitty.
Yep, you get to spend it on something else, other than temporary construction fencing.
Any further questions in regard to approval of the ZMM Canal Stone Company Incorporation change order number 5? Madam Superintendent, item D.
D, I'm asking that, well, D is also, I was actually spoke about C and D. That's where they were explaining about the change order deduct, that we didn't need the construction fencing, that we were able to get the $15,000 back for that. We spoke about both.
Are there any further questions for the superintendent in regard to item D? Alrighty. Hearing none, we'll move to action on those items. Is there a motion to approve action items A, B, C, and D as presented this evening?
So moved.
Mr. Amick moves. Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Mr. Berry seconds. Any further discussion in regard to action items A, B, C, or D? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Madam Secretary, the motion passes unanimously. Now we'll go back to item 4 on this evening's agenda, and it is discussion items and presentations, and we will begin with item A, ZMM presentation on the initial phase of the design for the Glade Creek project. Gentlemen?
And in addition to their initial design, I also have Skansky here, and they will be going over the site work package as well to explain where we are on that. So I thought that this would be good for all of the students here who are excited about, seeing where we are with the new school construction. So anyway, I think you guys will enjoy this.
Thank you all very much for having us here. We're very excited to kind of unveil the building. We've seen this rendering on the front, and we've kind of looked at this image for a long time, but there's been a lot of questions about the rest of the development of the site. So with that, we'll just kind of move into the presentation. Maybe if I stand in front of you, just
if you all want to turn your chair so you can see it better, go ahead and enjoy it.
So there's the rendering that you've seen. Site plan, we just give you a brief update. Site construction is going on right now. Skansky will give us a little bit of an update there. But you can see the building footprint, the location of the athletic fields. That hasn't changed a whole lot since you've seen it last. It has been actually refined a little bit even further. And then moving on to the floor plan, this is the current floor plan of the building. We'll take a quick tour of the building. I want to be mindful of everybody's time this evening, but so it still says that as we've seen it before, you still have an entrance on the south end of the building, which is the main high school entrance, and another high school entrance on the north side of the building. You have a middle school entrance over on the east side, and then on the front we have a performing arts and activities entrance here. So we do enter the building on all 4 sides. The areas that you see located in green are dedicated more towards middle school education. The blue is the high school education, as long as the purple is as well. Most of the purple is in the high bay vocational type space, but it is comprehensive, so this is all CTE type space as well. Areas that are in the orange and the brown is more building support. The areas in orange are shared spaces throughout. So just coming in the front of the building, you do have the gymnasium complex here. We are setting this up so that we can have dividable walls. This can be moved up to a large open space. You do have a large corridor, toilet concessions facilities just to the south of the gymnasium. Just as in the inside to the right of the main entrance, you have the administrative office area, and then we have a lecture stair here on the left that takes us up to an entrepreneurship hub up on the second floor, overlooks this main lobby space. You do have the performing arts. Neil's going to touch it. Performing arts area to the left where you have art, instrumental music, band. You have the auditorium, and then we have a large group instruction and e-gaming arena located here in the center. And then as you move north down the main corridor, you have the academies that go through here. And each of the academy has the central academy entrance. You have an academy classroom that's dedicated for that space with meeting rooms, and then the support classrooms off of either side. Moving to the other side of the center of the building, you have the dining room, middle school and high school dining room areas here with a centralized kitchen that will serve both. It allows both dining rooms to operate simultaneously. So the way that these are designed, they'll be able to design for 2 lunch periods on both sides. And then moving down this corridor, coming in from the middle school entrance, you do have the middle school academies, same approach, with classrooms that are shared in between each space. And then we have a fine arts, your art, music, band. That section is down in the center core of the wing, just to the south. Behind the gymnasiums, you have all the locker room and athletic support spaces for the gymnasium area. And then moving towards the back, we have in the upper right, you'll have the high bay spaces, which is your welding, your collision repair, auto technology, those spaces. And then moving off to the left side, we call those the soft bay, or medium bay spaces. Those are cosmetology, animal and plant science, and ProStart catering. Any questions on the floor plan before I keep going? Good.
Are those color coded to indicate the different phases of construction, or?
No,
you don't have that?
just strictly so that you can see what some high school spaces, what some middle school spaces are, and some shared spaces. That's only for that reason.
Have you done that with the other?
The
like
Cherry,
you did with Cherry River?
the Cherry River. Well, this won't be constructed necessarily in phases like the Cherry River. This construction will start all at one time. The contractor will determine their operations around the building. Whereas Richwood School, the phasing was important to keep the existing building open. But this won't be an issue here. Moving to the second floor, you do have a large area over top of the gym, behind the gymnasium, which is going to give us the ability to potentially look at additional bleacher space. It also gives us the ability to set this up as some exercise and additional sports area space, areas that the teams could be using while gyms are in use. We also have some second floor mechanical spaces. There's one kind of located here, one here between the auditorium and the large group instruction. And then we have the entrepreneurship hub here in the very center. Most of the building's all single story. You just have a couple areas that are 2-story. We are putting most of the mechanical on the second floor, where we're trying to keep most of the mechanical equipment indoors and not on the roof. The equipment will last a lot longer, be easier to maintain if it's indoors. And third floor, we do have a elevated walking and running track. It actually looks into that exercise and that group team space on the second floor, and actually looks into the gymnasium part. And it actually does come into the main concourse on the front entrance. So a little different than what you saw last time, a little bit more detail. So the entrance is very easy to spot. This is on the high school side, so this is looking, if we're looking at the floor plan, think of it as a clock. We're at 6 o'clock on the very south entrance. So the main high school entrance located here. You have the gymnasium areas with the toilets and the concessions off to the right. Here on the left, you have the entrepreneurship hub. You have art, instrumental music located here in the center section. You have band room located here on the far left. And then you can see the other kind of roof sticking out. That's the activities and the performing arts entrance.
Chris, before you go on, can I ask, is Tracy with us?
Yes, sir, I'm back here.
Could you just in a sentence, what the entrepreneur program?
What, Entrepreneurship Hub?
Yeah.
Yes, upstairs in the Entrepreneurship Hub, what that'll do is that'll provide students with an opportunity. If they can, of course, take entrepreneurship courses through an entrepreneurship concentration. But in addition to that, if they were to happen to have an idea
that they want to patent. Or if we could have folks from the outside into the community that want to come in and learn about how to do a business plan, how to begin a business, what's involved, some of the tax structure and those types of things. We'll also have a maker lab where students can also make a product if they're looking to do that. Anything and everything related to the entrepreneurship piece. As you know, West Virginia, we're big entrepreneurs. We are providing that opportunity for both the students and outside.
Thank you. I think it's important we understand that we're moving in a new direction with this school. It's a really comprehensive high school, really trying to address all the needs of the kids in the county so that when children leave this school, they will be certified or credentialed to do something when they walk out the door. Not just a diploma, but have skills that they're ready to move out into the workforce or go into higher education if they choose to do so. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. And that's a good segue. I mean, this is a very innovative approach in delivery of curriculum, the comprehensive high school approach. And it needs a building that's innovative with it as well. It needs to be very flexible, very modular, be able to change and adapt as the needs change as well. So just kind of, we're gonna start on the clock. We're at 6 o'clock on the plan, and we're gonna work our way counterclockwise around this building. So we're gonna kind of make a quick loop so you can kind of see.
It's not going to take 12 hours.
It's not. If I do, I'm doing it completely wrong. So we're now starting to move around the main entrance. This is kind of the view that you've seen. We've been able to refine it quite a bit with some of the additional spaces, some of the things we've been able to clean up, especially where we admin office area located here on the right, and then you can see that's kind of it's actually a secondary entrance to one of the gymnasiums there. And now we're just kind of starting, we're about in the 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock range on the clock here, looking around. Here's the entrance to high school gym, stair tower here to get access and exiting off of this. This is the running track that's horizontal at the very top. Then you see the toilet areas and the concessions areas here on the right. Now we're at the corner of the building. This is where the auxiliary gymnasium is. This is what this area is here. You see the running track actually comes out, projects out around that part of the building. And this is one of the first views you get of the building as you're starting to make your way up the drive. You see kind of this corner of the building first. So now we've kind of spun around on the building. We're more on the 3 o'clock side of the building. You're here at the middle school entrance. Middle school entrance is a very sister entrance to the high school, a little bit smaller scale and height, but you're looking into this courtyard area here on the left. That's where you would see the art, the music, the band. Those spaces are on the back side of this. This area would be your main entrance here, and then off to the right, you'd see the edges of the academy. And that's what the space is here today. So this is just, now we're just starting to move up the clock, back towards, it's about 1 o'clock. So this is the high bay areas we talked about. This would be on your left. This would be the welding, collision repair, auto technology, those kind of spaces. And then we have the back entrance, the secondary entrance of the high school. We do see that possibly some of the, could be used to being able to split parents up, students up for drop-off, pickups. So we have multiple areas that we're allowing people to funnel in and out of this building. We also see that this could be potentially one of the entrances for students from Ridgewood coming in for CTE.
Chris, that big garage door right there, is that like where they would build the tiny house?
Yeah, that would be construction, HVAC, electrical is in one of these high bay spaces as well. So you have an oversized garage door there that they can bring equipment in and out of. And the tiny house would fit definitely out of those doors. I do this every time. Make sure. Okay. So coming around the building, so this would be about 9 o'clock. We're looking at the back of the high school academies. So the window areas that you see, these are actually folding walls. They open up. They allow that classroom to be expandable to the outside. What it also allows us to do is the areas, these kind of the lighter gray areas here in between, that is our core classroom areas. That's kind of the end bank of those classrooms. That they are all opened up to these academies. Now we're turning around, we're up near the front. So this would be the performing arts entrance here on the far right. The band room is this glass box kind of on the corner. You see the auditorium located here, and then we have the kind of the backstage work area, back support area for the stage here on the left. That is looking at the band room on the right and the performing arts entrance very in the center, auditoriums to your left. So this is interior. So this is the lobby space. This is what people will experience the minute they walk in the door. This kind of sets the tone for the design of the building, how the building is going to be portrayed. We talked about an innovative approach. So when you come into this building, so you do have this lecture stair, which can be used for class work, can be used to bring visitors into the building. It can also be used, as you see, that you can have collaboration space. The Entrepreneurship Hub is at the very top of that. That kind of works hand in hand with that approach. Plus, if you're looking at community work, community use, you have them very to the front and center, and this is what the community and business community, this is what the education community, this is what everybody that comes through the door. This is kind of the tone of the building. See a little bit of the school store here. You can see here to the right, kind of in the middle, you see the gaming arena. The glass at the top of the stairs is actually what looks into that lecture hall and that gaming arena. You can see the running track kind of comes out here, and then as you can barely start to see down the corridor, see some numbers on some entrances. Those are the academy entrances into the high school.
Chris, okay, so you're not actually coming right in looking at that, right? You're going to come in the admin over here, and then you will come in out of the admin.
For visitors,
right,
yes.
For visitors.
Yes.
But
so for
they'll
like
have to go through a screening to get into there, right?
For everyday normal use, yes. If you're coming in for, let's say, a basketball game, this might be one of the entrances you're coming into. So again, this is the front lobby area. This is actually standing in there looking back out the front glass. You're looking at seeing the underside of lecture stair, and you're seeing the entrance here on the right to the Academy of Performing Arts, Performing and Visual Arts. Lecture stair. Most of the materials here, we're looking at very durable materials. We're looking at materials such as probably some more plastic laminate materials with a dense core. It's referred to as hard stock. It's a very durable product, very cost-effective product. It's something that's going to last over time. It's going to give us the appearance and look we're looking at. You see some drywall construction. We see that most of this building is going to be steel framed, with the exception of probably some stair towers, elevator shafts, and probably the high bay areas like welding, auto repair. Those don't tend to do well with drywall type construction, so those will be masonry. Again, looking at the side, looking back towards the Academy of Performing and Visual Arts. Seating niche, we've got areas, and we have breakout areas down that main corridor. So some of the classrooms, you'll have the ability to break out of those classrooms into smaller groups and work out in the middle of the corridor. We see a lot of collaboration happening with that. Again, it is a comprehensive high school approach. It's a little bit different. The curriculum is different. It's not your conventional classroom setting in a lot of locations. And this is from the top of the lecture stair from the Entrepreneurship Hub. This is looking down. This would be looking down at the front entrance area here. Administrative office area would be this area here on your left. So then as we're looking down, this is kind of shifted over where we can see the sight line. This is that main corridor that runs north-south on the plan. It runs all the way from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock on the clock. We're looking all the way down this corridor here. So as we make our way down the corridor, this is the entrance to the Esports Arena. Give you an idea of scale. that Esports Arena is this kind of, you see the little bit of the light and highlight kind of in the middle lower section. And as you get closer to it, you can see the scale of that. It's a little bit larger than you would once think it would be. But then you can start to see the academies coming here further down the corridor. So this would be a typical academy, entrances to the academy. We've got them numbered. The name we think is going to change over time. Just as we're looking at simulated workplace in some of these academies. Workplace demands are going to change throughout. It always changes. So the one thing we want to make sure is the building is flexible. So the building is set up as a module. These academies are very flexible. They're allowed to be retooled very easily and reconfigured as needed as demands change. So in a typical academy, you'll see this kind of glass area on the left. That's a meeting room. We use it as a conference room, but it's also a breakout space. It can also be used as a classroom space. You see the little wood ceiling that sticks out? That's the main entrance to the academy. You see a digital signboard to the right of the numbers, and then the glass to the left of that, let me go one more, is actually the academy classroom space. And one of the things that we really wanted to accomplish that helps highlight this approach is students are doing exploration about what they want to do, what they want to be, what they want to do when they grow up, right? What kind of job. So part of the exploration is not just being, if this is my academy and this is my focus, I have to walk past these as a student. So if you're walking past it as a student, you actually get this window into what are the other opportunities being taught and shown at the school. So that's one of the reasons you see a lot of glass here and you see some transparency through these spaces.
Tracy,
Yes.
could you explain a little bit about the academy concept? Because there's a lot of misinformation out there, I think, about that, and a lot of parents are kind of confused about it. And if you could, here's
No, you're good.
but that's kind of her area of expertise there. So if you could just shed a little bit more light on that for us.
It's a great question. So the academy concept, what it is the idea that you have a lab setting in which students can actually work, okay, in their CTE piece, their CTE concentration. So there is an actual hands-on piece, and it's a very large lab. Allows them a lot of flexibility, allows to have a lot of equipment in. Let's take a nursing setup, for example. You could have nursing beds, you have lots of computers there to simulate what it would actually be like in like an emergency room setting. So you're going to have lots of beds, you're going to have tables, you're going to have desks where they can perform different types of health occupation type related duties or jobs and skills. With the academy concept though, you have the academics built in. So you have the lab in the center, and then you have the classroom structure that is also engaged in that one lab area. So for example, you could have a teacher in doing some instruction while some students are in, let's say, that health occupations lab, and the teacher can say, okay, now wait, let's pause. They're in the middle of doing a demonstration. Let's see what they're doing. Are they using mathematics? Are they using science? What communications might be taking place at the same time? They might be doing a calculation on body mass index, looking at the math that goes along with that. So the idea is that we provide relevance. So when the student sees the why am I learning these types of skills, why is the math important, specifically in this piece, health occupations, let's say, when they understand what the why is, then it gives them an opportunity to be curious about some of the other reasons or some of the other academics that are involved in that same concentration. So we want them to really see that there's math, there's science, there's social studies, there's English language arts that's built into every area. Every concentration that we have, we want to provide that relevance, and as soon as we get the relevance, we can increase the rigor. Does that answer your question?
But like whatever whatever academy they're in, then their math, science, all those.
It's all relevant.
It's all
yes.
relevant to what they're actually.
That is correct. Yes.
What they're doing.
So in welding, they're going to learn their math approach is going to be, of course, all the West Virginia state standards that's available in math currently. Yes, but we're also going to tailor it to make sure that we have the students understand. Okay, what math is specific to welding or construction? So students right now in class, they don't have a clue what the Pythagorean theorem is in math. But when they're doing it in construction and building a stair stringer, that's the Pythagorean theorem. That's when the light bulb goes off and they say, ah, okay, I get it now. I understand why I'm doing this type of math calculation, because they do it hands-on later on.
So that kind of does away a little bit with some kids are saying, why do I have to learn this? This has nothing to do with what I want to do whenever I get out of school.
That's exactly right.
Their core classes are going to pertain to whatever it is that they think that they want to get into as their occupation that they want to do when they get out.
That's exactly right. And it also reinforces the idea that those academics are important. Every phase of the mathematics that's being presented is important. All of the English language arts, all of the technical writing, all of the vocabulary where you learn on the job, because there's different vocabulary per job. There's a certain specific vocabulary for health off that's different from welding, that's different from cosmetology. It's learning the language of the job or the career.
Well, what does the educational hierarchy, like the state superintendent, think of this new method instead of the traditional classroom?
Well, at 10 o'clock this morning, we presented to the state superintendent, and he absolutely loves it. This is groundbreaking. This is out-of-the-box thinking. This is giving students an opportunity to seek and do the things that they truly want to do. That niche that they may have, their talent. It's their choice, it's their talent, followed up by all of the support that goes along with that to provide them a successful transition into the workplace.
I walked into that question, didn't you?
And I think it's important to mention too that we are also considering students who want to go on in education.
Absolutely.
And this is a springboard for that. And they'll have, the pre-med and as well as, well, I don't know, the 15, 16 areas.
Actually 17 different areas,
17.
the 16 national core concentrations plus one, ours is 17, ours is performing arts. A lot of states in the nation have more than the 16. We'll have all 16 plus one. Some states like Delaware has a 17th and they just call theirs energy and power. Ours is going to be performing arts, which is awesome. So we'll have 17 different tracks or 17 different options. But that doesn't stop there. Those connections, exactly, Mr. Berry, those connections are there, so students are able to earn stackable credentials along the way. I use health occupations or the allied health sciences as an example. Students can go in and start very basic, where they can learn, let's start with CPR. And then let's go up from there. Let's earn another stackable credential with regards to bloodborne pathogens and so on. And they can get their EMT, and they can go up and up and up the ladder. Everywhere, and they can go all the way clear to the top to being a doctor, whatever it is that they want to do. But we have those connections with colleges in our local area that are allowing us the opportunity to provide national, state, and local certifications and credentials that provide them for the next level.
Also, I think, Mrs. Chenoweth, we're having communications not only with that, but throughout this region with businesses that, what are their needs? How do we need to get our kids ready to go right from high school out into a workforce out there, or if they want to go to college, of course. But, we're talking to those people as well.
Oh, absolutely.
We're doing that now, and in preparation for this school opening in about 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, our business and industry partners are essential because they're the ones on the job telling us exactly what they need. And, business and industry changes over time. The skill sets are different over time, and they're the ones that are providing us with the opportunities to see what it is exactly that they need, yes.
We will also be catering to adults as well. We're going to have fast track programs for adults to get in the evenings, get certifications quickly.
Since you said this is new, will the state be giving any?
Oh, I don't know. I don't deal with money. I just deal with the thumbs up. We did get the thumbs up today. Let's put it that way.
They're pretty good to support us in things that we need. So.
One other thing, this academy concept, this is not something we just fell into yesterday. We've been thinking this for 2 to 3 years. I know the superintendent's, through her career tech ed leadership, has really given us a lot of direction. But what we've done is we've expressed to these folks, and now here's where design of the building meets the needs of the academy approach, and they've done a good job.
Exactly.
We spent a lot of hours with ZMM and talking through, and this is a new model. This is a new model, and I believe this facility captures. It'll be a great tool to help us deliver instruction in a very effective manner.
All kids in Nicholas County will benefit from this, all kids.
One more question I have for you is, there's a little misconception out there as well, as if the kid gets in an academy and they don't like it, they're stuck there.
Yeah.
And they don't, they think, this is not what I want, but they think they have to stay in that. They can't like go to another area that they might be more interested in.
Right. And you're right, it is a misconception. We'll be able to start with our 9th grade students, and ideally they complete a concentration within 2 years. So a student coming into a concentration their 9th and 10th grade year, they can complete that concentration. Now, they can stay in that concentration for what we'll call a deeper dive and more stackable credentials and an opportunity to earn associate's degree credit that goes along with that. Or if they decide that they don't like a specific area or track, regardless of where they are, they can jump tracks. Because I'll tell you what, a lot of people have heard me say this before, and it's kind of funny, but CTE, career and technical education, is good for 2 things. It's good for deciding what it is that you want to do for the rest of your life, and it's also good for deciding what you never want to do again for the rest of your life. And that's what it's for. So we give students an opportunity to go in and explore in these different concentrations, and it might not be what they thought, and they have an opportunity. They're not stuck at any time. And again, this is about the student and their desire and their dream, or their niche, if you will. And we've said it. I know special educators will throw something at me, but every student needs an individualized education plan. Every student needs an IEP, regardless. So this provides them an opportunity to have their own individualized plan and instruction.
I have a couple more questions. Are you going, there's going to be 3 schools there. Are you going to show parking?
Yeah.
Where all of them can park?
Yeah, the site plan that we have developed has parking for 1,100. That's more than ample for the amount of students, teacher, faculty, staff, and for events that are located here.
These buildings here and in Richwood, we know what happened in Kentucky with the winds. What, these new schools, is there, how high wind can they take?
To pull the engineering number out, I can't tell you that part, but I mean, we have to design these to meet code. The majority of everything we design is exceeding code. I don't see that as an issue or concern for us, but we can certainly share those numbers with you once the design has started to take shape.
We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow with this weather. I mean, I'm not being facetious, it's just life.
Right.
Do you have a follow-up with that, or is that?
Who's going to clean all those windows?
Where's Rocky? Is Rocky there? He has volunteered to clean all of them.
What is your projected completion date?
Going to get to that in I got just a few more slides. If you let me get to that, I can go over, I've got the project schedule on here.
Okay.
What we're going to show is the last few pieces. This is kind of a typical academy. This kind of works throughout the entire building. This happens to be one of the high school, but the middle school academies are very similar to this. And so what you see here is we got classrooms typically on these academies, it's either one side or the other side. We have a media wall located here. You see the windows to the outside. We have some lockers located here, and then this is an empty one. So this is in the academy looking back towards the corridor, so you can see that you got the dedicated academy classroom off to the left. And to the right here, you can start to see a couple of doors and windows that's going into your core classes that are occurring inside of that academy. English, language arts, math, those kind of spaces. And this just zooms back out in the corner a little bit, and then you can see those classrooms off to the right, your academy classroom on the left, and then the academy space in itself. So everybody's asked what goes on in the academy space, right? So this is where it's the laboratory, this is the hands-on, this is where you learn. So this is an example of the creative arts, journalism, and broadcasting. So you normally would see either blue screen or green screen. We've got blue screen here. You see a news desk, you see there's an interview going on here, you see all these computers for video editing to go out. And then on the back side of that green screen here, you can see that there's also interviews for radio, those kind of things. So you see that there's multiple events happening in this space. One of the advantages of having this glass all the way out to the corridor is you're opening that window for students. You're allowing them to see what's happening space after space after space. So a couple of next steps. Obviously we got this presentation. We've got the idea of the building design, the language that we're looking on the interior and the exterior, how to get the innovative curriculum into a building that's innovative and is going to be flexible with it as well.
Back in the 70s, they tried to tell educators in West Virginia that the open classroom was the thing. And we tried. But it never did get a hold. The teachers just liked it where they had the kids in the classroom more than, there were so many disruptions with an open, you'd have a classroom here, you'd have a classroom there. Now with these academies, are they isolated to the point that they cannot hear one room from?
Yeah. Okay. So the academy space is essentially a space large enough to conduct 1 to 2 classroom sizes worth of students in that space. You can take those students and break them down into smaller groups, and then when you're in the smaller groups, you can have groups. There's a meeting room in the front. There are multiple areas, multiple workstations that has to do with your area of focus out in the academy space. You have the core curriculum classes adjacent to this, and you have the academy classroom on the front. You get multiple areas, breakout areas to have. So, when we show this image, that's a probably realistic approach. You're seeing a classroom size amount of students located in the academy space on a realistic approach.
Maybe if you explain the high bay areas with the grinders and things like that, that's maybe what he's thinking about. These are low noise areas, and they have a different design for the high noise areas.
Yes, so the high noise areas and those areas, the visibility is different. Obviously, for like welding, we can't have anybody see arc flash. We can't have anybody see that. That's a safety concern. So we have the ability to do TV monitors so you can still see in the academy, but we're keeping everybody safe. We also are using the fact that some of those spaces, we don't need as much visual contact into those spaces. Like we have glass from the classrooms into the academy. Those spaces, we don't have as much glass. That way we reduce the risk of any like arc flash and welding, those other type of issues and concerns we have. But it also helps us with sound. The more solid wall we have, plus the walls in those spaces, we're looking at masonry construction, not steel frame construction. So the masonry adds mass, which allows the acoustic properties there to not transfer sound through the walls nearly as much as here. Here, these are low noise, that part is not a major concern.
So in these academy areas, not the high bay areas, but just this regular academy, you have classrooms around it, the English, math, science, social studies, and then in the center you have, it's kind of like when we were in high school, in chemistry class, you had all the chemistry, you did all of your book work up here in the front, and let's go to the back of the room, or let's go to another room for the lab work, and you did your things like that. It's a lab area.
That is a great way to look at it. It is a lab area, but it is a simulated workplace area. Yeah. It is a place that you're going to be able to demonstrate some of the items, the allied health, whether it's set up with hospital beds down in one area. This one we show TV cameras and things in broadcasting. You're going to have in JROTC, you'll have the climbing wall, those kind of things. So you're going to see things dedicated to each academy space. But it's modular, it's flexible, so that as things change and demands change in the workforce, you'll be able to adapt the building to that. So.
I'm going to ask Mrs. Chenoweth to, if she would, explain, when we went to that meeting, at the center up there, and about the stone, the
Stone
Stone
Rise
Gate.
Oh, Stone Rise.
Stone Rise, yes.
Yeah, Stone Rise.
Okay.
Nursing Home.
Yes, the nursing home.
Okay.
Okay, and you were explaining that, how the classes, what all that they could be taking that would be able to provide jobs for them.
Yeah.
If you could just give us a
Yeah,
brief.
so we're gonna have a large building, it may already be under construction, is it? I haven't been up
Yes,
through there.
it is.
It's up there, and I don't know what the projection open date for that is, but we did meet with the CEO and
It's in
some
the conference center.
some different people up at the conference center to talk about it. During that discussion, we primarily talked about our CNA program, because in Allied Health Sciences, we have certified nursing assistants, our CNAs. And what they do, and in 2 years' time, they can graduate with their CNA, or they can complete that program. Now, if they stay, on your earlier question, if they stay, then they can get more stackable credentials, maybe even their EMT, maybe even phlebotomy, or maybe they want to go on and do something related to sports and physical fitness or wellness, whatever it happens to be. And then, of course, if they want to change and go to another program like entrepreneurship, they can. But in our CNA program, it is specific. In 2 years, they can be a licensed CNA individual and go to work. So Stone Rise was interested because not only for our CNAs, but in our building and our school that we're going to have all kinds of other jobs that support that. And we're going to have jobs that support all the businesses in all the county, in the entire county and surrounding counties. So for example, we may have a need at Stone Rise for carpentry or maintenance or building maintenance and construction, or just some custodial. Landscaping is one. We're going to have food service. We're going to need somebody that has some dietary information. So we're going to have our ProStart Baking and Pastry. Those students will come around, they come back with the professional restaurant certification and so on. The idea is that we're providing a service, multiple services, for students to be able to walk in at any level, including entry level, but above and beyond, to have gainful employment. So that's an exciting piece, and that's why we had that meeting with them, to explain to them all the different opportunities that we can provide just in one business. It's incredible. I think there was 12 to 15 different opportunities that we would have. In addition to that, we can do some other things, which are some give-back things that we really like. For example, we're going to have a cosmetology program. We can have the availability to have our students work on some of the, maybe let's say the residents, some of the ladies, let's just say, for example, they may want to go and have their manicures done or their pedicures done. They can have their hair done. Some of those give-back type things, some of those things that we want to do to give back to our community. So in all of our concentrations, we have something to offer, and even if it's minute, we have a way to provide students with an opportunity for gainful employment.
Plus help out the community.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A couple more slides and we're done here. So next steps, we're in what we refer to as design development phase. That's the phase that we just asked you, one of the last visits here, to approve on the Richwood School. We'll be approaching the design development phase. That's where a lot of the details of the building, overall layouts, of all the spaces, furniture, all those things start to come together. All the materials are 100% defined, what we're going to propose. We actually have several other buildings other than this that are on that site. There's some athletic buildings and campus support buildings will be included in that. We have educational specifications that have to be prepared. They basically break down what is the requirement for every single space in the building. It goes from everything with what's needed from ventilation, what's needed from plumbing, what's needed from power, what kind of finishes go in it, what kind of lighting goes in the space. It is a very detailed, almost like a checklist of what every space has. That's one of the important documents that we're currently working on that we'll have completed at the end of design development. Still got a few things to refine on floor plan, site plan. Still got to work on getting furniture set in a lot of these spaces. And then we still have a lot of design review meetings still to conduct on this building. So when? magic question is when. So we propose that we'll be back here in March to present design development on this building. We are looking at construction documents to be submitted to this board around May, maybe June, but May is right now where we're really thinking that it will occur. Substantial completion for the mass grading package that's under construction now for that building. The building pad, just the building pad, and the areas right around the building pad is May 27th. That's their contract date that the contractor is currently working towards. We're looking at receiving bids on this building and the rest of the site package in June and start construction in July. Substantial completion for the site package, that would be all the fields, everything else around the perimeter. We're looking at November 30th. Now that is just the grading package. That's not the turf and that's not the fencing, but just the grading package work. The substantial completion on that is November 30th of 2022. And then for this building package, for this building, we're looking at completion with occupying in October of 2024.
So hopefully we'll start construction of the Richwood in March and start construction on this one in July.
In July. We have to have a few factors work in our favor with winter. We do have, as you can look at the schedule, we do have some time built into the schedule in case we do encounter winter, which we have winter here. That's just a part of it. Doing site construction in the winter can cause problems and delays, so we do have some safeguards built into the schedule. But you can also see we're also looking at an October completion, so that would set you up for a potential mid-year move.
You have substantial, if you move a second, there's substantial completion, thank you, for building pad, May 27, 2022. We already have people on site up here at Glade Creek moving earth right now. And I'd like to ask if Mr. Hall and Mr. Pack would care to speak to that, what's going on up there right now. And they've only been on that job 2 weeks.
Yes, definitely. Can I get us set up, Chris, and then...
Is he finished?
Oh, okay.
Is that the last slide?
Is
I have no more. That's all I have.
Perfect segue.
All I have.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Dave, for that. And I know there's some questions, but thank you all for that great presentation.
And they've done a phenomenal job.
It's good.
Just for the record, mine worked.
It did work. Just for the record, I don't know if mine's working. But he knows it was on there because I showed it to him before the meeting. Wonder if it's not working. Tell me about it.
Oh, you did now.
For the public to know, while they're getting that fixed up, we do have cameras up on the Glade Creek site that you can go online and see the construction that's occurring. Those cameras, we're getting them corrected and perfected at this time, but you can go to the Nicholas County Board of Education site and go over to the tab that says more and tab down to the Glade Creek, and it'll take you up and you can see them as they're doing the work on the Glade Creek site.
Well, thank you, board members, for letting us come before you again tonight and talk to you a bit about what's going on site. So we're going to cover the construction status, and then we'll show you some photos as well, in addition to what you can see online with the cameras that are set up. I'm not going to be the one that's talking, though. I'm going to let the guy with mud on his boots. He knows more about what's going on site than I do. So.
Yeah, I just apologize to Keith for leaving the mud closet. I literally came from the project site to the meeting. This is a brief rundown of actually what's occurred on site so far. A few other tasks may have occurred, but these are the major items that have occurred. Of course, the demo of the existing gas line. The new line has already been installed, still needs tested, so there are still some open pits for the gas line. The demo of the west side water line, West side would be your 9 o'clock, okay? We're using Chris's example, which is perfect, because I was trying to figure out how to relate that. Demo of the sewer line. All of these activities that you're seeing right here are mainly occurring on the west side, which will be your 9 o'clock side of the project. Let's see, the northwest and southwest stormwater retention ponds are ongoing. These are the large stormwater retainage areas where we're making a big flat spot. We're taking an area that was basically just a rolling hill area, and we're making a big flat spot out of it. So the water has to go somewhere to be held temporarily before it dumps into your local streams. Okay, you don't want to just overflow everything with that hard space into your new or into your existing situations.
Mike, is that what's going on down? You can't really see it from the camera.
Can't really see it.
Down
Yeah,
over the hill?
there's
We've got a
one.
photo where we can.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Well, I've got some pictures and I'll show you what I'm talking about, but there's one that's actually going on at about 9 o'clock and one that's going on at about 7 o'clock. So those are the two west side storm retention ponds. All the erosion and sediment control, the ESC measures are in place. That's your erosion eels that look like a big sock filled with hay. Those are in place. All the silt fences in place in order to control, any of the water flow as we move through the project, through construction. Topsoil removal. This is the actual first bit of real dirt coming out of it's like this to the back side of the building pad, more toward football field side. So we've actually started pulling some topsoil off of there to where we can really get down to start moving dirt. There's a lot of topsoil, so we've got to move a lot of dirt, actually really get down into taking the good soils out and getting down to our level where we can start to balance the site, which is take the dirt from one location and move it to somewhere else so that everything becomes a big flat spot. That make sense? Got me? All right. Job trailers are set. We're still waiting on utilities for those, but they do have them on site. Stormwater piping was delivered to site today, and you'll see from the size of these things, I'm about 6'1", and I could probably walk through these. So you've got a lot of big stuff coming on site. They're actually having to bring in an excavator this week to lift the big manhole structure off because we don't have anything big enough to lift it, and the buckets on the existing excavators I can stand in. So this is a big piece of equipment. So we're moving a lot of stuff. Surveyors are still on site. That survey's ongoing. All the LOD, which is the limits of disturbance, which is the area we have to stay in. I know the board members are very familiar with the LOD line. That's all been marked off. Surveyors are pretty much on site every day, marking off new areas as the contractor moves through phases of work. They've got the locations for the topsoil piles, the sediment ponds, the LOD line, the gas lines, all those things that were marked off and are being updated by the surveyor as project progresses forward.
And just to reiterate what Dr. Pennick said, all those items were in the past 2 weeks, so these guys are hitting it hard.
And this is all like, when you're talking about civil work, this is all the infrastructure, okay? So taking out gas line, putting in a new gas line, taking out water line that ran to basically to nowhere on this site, getting rid of the old sewer line, demoing all the things that they need out of the way so that they can get the new stuff in there and actually start moving massive amounts of dirt. And when I talk massive amounts, none of this is, you think of a dump truck that's an over-the-road dump truck. We're using what's called lizard trucks, which are big in coal mines. So we're moving, when they start to move dirt, they'll be moving massive amounts of dirt. For example, actually, I don't think we have a lizard in this picture. That's the northwest storm retention pond. That excavator, that's the roof. So he is down in the pond working his way back out. These are some of the dozers on site. Here is some of the ESC measures, the erosion eels and the silt fence. There's some of the water line that they pulled out. This is all looking down the road that went toward the cul-de-sac. Okay? That is one long section of sewer pipe. It's about 100 feet long. They pulled it out in one pull, and that's going down this massive trench that you see right here. And there's a lot of big rock in that trench. So they pulled that out in one piece. That was kind of impressive. So I want to make sure I got a picture of that one. Here are the storm pipes that I was referring to. 3 loads came in today. That's one of the trucks that hadn't been unloaded yet. There was another truck here. That's what they had already pulled off. That random trailer that looks kind of random, that's where all the straw for the project is stored. 500 some bales are inside that trailer. Oops. What'd I do, Chris?
Zoom in.
Yeah. Help me. Oh, there we go. I got it. Got to be smarter than the machine. All right. And this is actually the picture of the topsoil removal from the back side of the project. And topsoil is about 6 to 8 inches deep, and they have to scarf all of that off, put it in one location before they can start moving massive amounts of dirt. I think it was our last slide, wasn't it?
Yep, that was it.
Any questions?
I got one.
Yeah.
The gas line, is that the gas line from the gas well that's there, or is that actually natural gas on the property?
That's actually from the well that was there to the other end of that line.
Okay.
So they actually took that, that's going to stay on the property. So they disconnected on one end, ran it, because it ran in a crow's line, you know, as a crow flies, kind of straight line back to another point. They took that out and they ran it all the way out and around where the football field is going to go, behind what's going to be that back retaining wall. Okay. Any other questions?
I don't know how to say this. I know what you're doing needs to be taken care of first.
Right.
But if there's some way you could get up a little higher where people could see it on the road. A lot of people don't even know. I had 2 people this weekend say, "You ever going to do anything?" I said, "They're out there now."
Yeah. They're working from one side to the other, and they have 8 men out there a day. So there are 8 pieces of equipment, 7 pieces of equipment running almost every day.
And another man coming tomorrow.
Yes.
That area you're working in there had all those utilities in it
Yes,
that
it
you needed to take out.
Absolutely. That infrastructure had to come out first.
Yeah.
Plus two, we only have the one camera working, and there's 2 more that will be
Yes.
showing that.
Yeah. I believe now, Chris, the camera at what would be the 9 or 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock are both operating.
Yes,
They both online?
yes.
And the one that's going to be at 6 o'clock is having a few issues.
I think
Even
the
east,
cellular signal is coming and going, I'm going to have to call
Okay.
that company. Just a quick,
But in addition to that, we're also going to be providing you with some of our construction photos that we take, and you can put those on your website as well. And then in an email to your superintendent, I asked if we could do a construction update for you every month too, so that way you're well in the loop as to what's going on.
And we have another employee who's actually working in an adjacent county, who's a drone pilot, and he's actually offered to do some aerials for us at intermittent points throughout the project.
if you go to our website and click on more and scroll all the way to the bottom, you're the Glade Creek project. And all you have to do is click on those.
Dark right now.
Well,
It's dark, I mean,
It's
it's
dark.
dark one show.
I just want to show you where they was. Camera 1's the one that's on the power pole beside the ladies building. It's a pan tilt zoom in. We'll try to follow the action with that whenever we can get them to have it to function the way it was intended. But all you have to do is click on one and it's going to be dark. I might try to get another link and put on there. It's kind of nicer too, because you can look at a picture every 10 minutes and you can go back through those. That way you can kind of see what happened that day. So we might try to throw that on there too. I think more people might look at that than the live one because you can see what happened that day and the live is live now and nothing else.
Was camera 2 our middle school camera or the cemetery camera? And then camera 3 was...
Camera 2
So
is
camera-
coming from
yeah.
like the cemetery.
Camera 2 will look from the middle school, so camera 1's going to be kind of your high school camera.
You can see, so it's pretty dark. I'm not even going to hit play and waste data. But whenever we get job trailers situated and internet to those, I think that we can shoot some wireless bridges to
Boost
these
the story.
things and you'll have clear, not as granular pictures and we won't have data costs. So that's kind of what you're going to look at. I'm going to do is hit play, but I just want to show you where to go find those. And I might add another one in there that just says 10-minute pictures or time lapse, because that way you can actually scroll back during the day.
And when we start having movement on the Cherry River project,
The same thing
there
will
will be
happen.
cameras up there, and we'll have Cherry River project, and people will be able to click on the live
Yep.
views for it as well.
Yep. Are you done?
Yeah, I am.
Yep.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Any further questions for Skanska or ZMM?
How long do you think the weather will hold out?
Don't ever ask that question. Don't ask that. Don't
For the next 2 weeks.
Just jinx it. It's been great so far, so.
Jason, Mike, thank you from Skanska for coming and being with us tonight, and we look forward to those pictures, and I think you said something about some drone.
Yeah, we have another employee that, he kind of does some drone flying in his spare time. He's offered to come by and maybe do some aerial shots for us from time to time. And what we'll do is maybe during our presentation each month, we'll kind of have a comparison of what was last month and what was this month, so you can kind of get an idea of what that looks like.
Could you remind us of your projected completion date?
Is May of 2022 for the building pad, and the October of 22 for the,
24.
no, I was talking about for the final completion of the site. And then November 30th for site, the rest of the site, and in October 24 for the building. Thank you.
ZMM, Dave, you and Chris, thank you, and appreciate the work you've done. It's beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you all for coming this evening.
Thank you for
Travel back home. Item 4B, Best of Show, Nicholas County Literature Fair. And I'm going to say that that's Dr. Lee, and this is Dr. Phil.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to the children and to the parents. I know some of you weren't quite expecting the adjustment, but I think that getting to see some of that will actually inspire you all, inspire your children. So thank you for being patient and waiting and being willing to view all of that. But we wanted to recognize, first of all, the re-entry into what may look like a normal again. It was just exciting to see at the school level, the kids' excitement when they finally were able to do the literature fair projects again. But even more so at the county level, we were able to bring them all back together at New Life, which was a normal that we hadn't had for a while. So thank you so much to the parents, to the teachers, and especially to our children that were there. So I want to first have Avery Walton come up from Somersville Elementary School. Hers was on Who Was Rosa Parks. And these were our Best of Show winners for the county. And she has your certificate. Congratulations.
Okay. Just come over here and just.
Get out of that picture.
Can get close together someplace, either back here or up here, so. we can get
Actually,
some
it
pictures
might
with
work
us.
out better if the board stands back there and we put the kids there, that way we can see everybody.
Yeah,
So
so
we
we
pull
can
the
see
chairs
everyone.
out of the
Yeah.
way.
Come around this way.
Do you want a group shot, Melissa, or do you want individuals?
We'd like to do both.
Both, yeah, okay.
So go ahead,
Just
Avery.
everyone, you can stand up here and we'll get a picture of you in front of everyone, because this is a big deal. We want to celebrate you, so. Okay, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Avery, if you just want to wait over here while I call the others up, then you'll be here for the group shot.
Yeah, we just go right over there.
They'll call you Miss Congeniality by the end of the night. The next one, and I haven't seen him, maybe I'm just missing, but Eliza Skidmore was Shark Lady from Somersville Elementary. Okay.
Okay.
Aiden Gregg from New Life Christian Academy with the Mysterious Benedict Society.
Congratulations, Aiden.
Thank you.
Here, turn this way, yeah, here we go. Wait a minute, Mr. Berry, step out this way just a little bit, okay. Okay.
Congratulations. Thank you.
And we have Lily Burkholder and Angel Crockett with the Hunger Games from New Life Christian Academy. And the final one is Isabella Clark with Gilded Tragedy from New Life Christian Academy.
Okay.
Now,
If
if
you guys
everyone
want to
can
come
come
back
up.
over. Aiden, you want to come up and get a group shot? Awesome.
Okay. Mr. Berry, now you're going to have to step this way just a little bit.
They keep moving there.
And I can't see. Okay, there we go. I think I got everybody now. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations, guys. And next, I wanted to recognize the teachers that made this all happen, because without all of their effort and hard work, I know this couldn't have happened. And I know with the pandemic, it added a whole different level of the way in which we had to structure events, not only at the school level, but especially at the county level. So a big thank you. I know Ms. Cole had to leave, and I know Ms. Clark is here for New Life, but it took some strategic moves, and transportation is helping us out and things to make sure that the kids were kept by schools within a huge room so that they did not have to contact trace and things like that. So thank you for everybody for all your efforts in making sure that everything went off without a hitch and we did not have to contact trace, not one situation, so we were tickled. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and just call out the ones that are here. There's several that weren't able to be here tonight. So I have Cindy Loss from Somersville Elementary School.
Thank you. Mr. Berry, you gotta step up. He is a problem.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
And I have Christy Clark and Carol Cole from New Life Christian Academy, but she had to leave. So if you want to accept both of yours, that would be wonderful. And a big thank you, because they're our host school, and they have such a wonderful hospitality situation, and they're just very gracious to the rest of us and letting us come into their facility.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have the others. And I want to go ahead and recognize the rest that may not have been able to be here tonight. From Cherry River, Morgan Scott and Marcy Bragg with their contacts. From Golly River is Monica Cox. From Glade Creek is Mrs. Martin. From Mount Lookout was Patty Ellswick. From Mount Nebo was Stacy McClung. From Panther Creek Elementary was Sherry McMillian. From Zila is Jeremy and Courtney Wood. From Richwood Middle School was Lisa Cole and Melinda Bennett. From Somersville Middle School was Rachel Taylor and Jennifer Foreman. From Ridgewood High School was Kathy Lester and Melissa Gum. From Nicholas County High School was Selby McClung and Shiloh Lusk. Did I miss anybody that's actually here that I didn't think that I saw? Okay, she's here for after school. Yeah, I got you covered. All right, if you will start the PowerPoint, Leslie, then I'll go ahead and go over some of the after school items. And if you want to give the board members one of those.
Are we good?
Yes, we are good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Hoover. Thank you.
I remember it was your contact. I remember. Good one. See ya.
Well, if you think back a few months ago, Dr. Teacher could ask each department to come in and give some updates of things that are happening in each department. So in my area, we have a couple exciting things going on, and I have asked my compadres to come in here and update you. The first one's going to be relating to the after-school programming that we offer in conjunction with Save the Children, and Mrs. Duffield kind of spearheads all of the things that relate to after school, so she's going to go over that. And then I have also invited my compadres that you see there in the back of Artisas, and they're going to be giving you an update on STEM labs and some of the professional development things that they're doing to help teachers and students. So, Mrs. Duffield?
And I have the site coordinators here from the school, but I want to share what's going on first, and then you can see all of the hard work, and I recognize them at the end that they've actually put into it. I wanted to first start off with, Dr. Penix, you had said the last time I gave a presentation to share the video of the students so that enrollment would increase. You can look back through there. There's a couple ladies that are going to say that might not have been a good idea because we had to add staff and we've had to perhaps create a waiting list at some of the two sites. So it's been a good problem to have. Yeah. But for those of you that aren't aware, the 21st Century After School Programming is a grant program generated from the state level, and our Save the Children collaboration partners wrote our grant. But the programming is not just funded solely through them. The county also has part in that, as well as the Title I federal funding. And as you can see, these are our two cooperating partners, is the 21st Century side and Save the Children. And these are some of the benefits, which I know you've heard some of this, but I wanted to provide an overview for the actual community members that are here. The summer program looked a little bit different, but But the regular year program is Monday through Thursday for 4 days a week, and they are provided a daily supper or a snack. We encourage supper due to some employment situations. Some of the schools have a snack, but the cooks have been very gracious in offering a substantial snack that is above and beyond the state requirements, and that's thanks to Miss Mao back there. She encourages that highly, so we really appreciate that. Transportation is provided at every single site. So that's been a limiting factor in some programs, and so thankfully that hasn't been in this county. They receive daily reading instruction support and then application in a variety of ways with the application piece. And it's not necessarily just tutoring. A lot of folks may say, what's a tutoring program? And we've really encouraged the marketing concept to show that this is not a tutoring program, this is for all children. We are there to support those that may be struggling, but it's for on level and even those beyond. The daily math instruction is there as well, and a lot of hands-on activities, which we'll see some of the pictures in just a few moments. The STEM labs that are available at Golly River and Somersville Elementary School, the kids have really made use of those at their sites. Cherry River does have the equipment, and it's available through a checkout system. However, due to some of the construction issues that we've been seeing, they actually had to box a lot of their things up, but the teachers can check those things out. But they do not have a set-aside room as they did have for that. They also have daily healthy choices. They have a physical activity component as well as health education. They may do some lessons on healthy cooking and things like that. And I've been in some of the sites where they're making kebabs and all kinds of things. So it's very engaging for the kids. The piece that we have added this fall that we did not have last year during the regular school program or during the summer is called a Journey of Hope program. And the Save the Children, this is a requirement of theirs to have a minimum of 2 days a week. Some of our sites are offering it more than that. But especially in light of the pandemic and all of the social emotional learning that we know our kids are struggling with, this is a great component to add this year specifically, so that those needs can be addressed. They have individual counseling lessons, they have some group counseling lessons, and then general counseling sessions with the whole group on various issues that the school may generate needs for, that they share with them, and they'll cater lessons to that. The enrichment offerings, as I mentioned, they'll have STEAM, and they have done stream with the reading in it as well, and a lot of guest speakers. Over the summer, we had a lot of field trips. We will be able to provide some of those activities as well. They have not taken field trips yet this year, but there's been a lot of different guest speakers at some of the sites and some STEAM activities going on. Their experiential learning through the demonstration and hands-on activities and field trips is another big benefit of the program, as well as parent and community engagement, which I'm going to show you a few slides in a few moments that we've talked about. Sometimes getting the parents into the schools is difficult, not for these sites. They have done a bang-up job of getting the parents in there and a lot of the community members, so it has been a really good outreach for the schools. And then the community service projects, and I'm going to go ahead, and Leslie, you can go ahead and swipe that, but I'm going to start with Cherry River. The community service project that they did over the summer, I showed you all pictures of the benches and the kids that would burn their names in and everything. The community members are still talking about those benches. I've had a parent actually talk to me just the other day about those benches that were donated to different organizations. So kudos to them for their community outreach, and they're continuing those pieces during the regular school. Their total enrollment is 30, which over the summer, some of that had dwindled down, and so they've done a good job of building that back up. And their average daily attendance is 22 children. One of the outreach that you can see here in the Harvest Celebration, it's in your all's newsletter, they don't have, so I just shared a couple tidbits on the slides for the community to see. They had 143 people there that night. So that was a wonderful event for them. And I included some quotes for you all that the audience doesn't have necessarily, so I just put one quote. We asked the children to give us their favorite quotes about some of the after-school programming. And this little girl said, "My favorite class is math. We play a lot of fun games." And if you all read the rest of your quotes, you're going to see this kind of a comment in the majority of the students' responses, is that it's fun. And I think that's the key component, is the engaging and fun manner in which all the instruction is delivered. At Golly River, their attendance, this is one of the sites where the video worked, Mr. Penix. The total enrollment went to 100, and their average daily attendance is 63. So they definitely are doing a wonderful job there. We've added staff there to accommodate the extra children that are there and to make sure that all of the needs are met. They had a kickoff campfire event, and there was over 100 in attendance there as well. And Jennifer Altizer is here, and I'm gonna introduce all of them in just a moment. No. Yes, there you are. I was like, wait a minute, where'd you go? And she had shared with me that Mr. Lee, he's the Director of Office of Student Support and Wellbeing from the State Department. He had come up and visited the school a while back, and it's just evident when you walk into the schools, and if you ever get a chance, I'm sure that the site coordinators would say, please come visit. But he just said, even after being there, he said, I can feel the positive culture and the energy in the school through the program. So when you walk in, and that's a good thing, when they said, I can just feel it. They don't have to be told what's going on, they felt it. Go ahead. If you go to Somersville, and you'll notice each one of them had a different name. Somersville's the Bears Den. You'll notice that at Golly River, it was the Bobcats. And at Cherry River, you guys actually had created a different name as well. And we encouraged them to come up with more of a camp theme so that it felt like the summer did, because the kids kept saying, it felt like camp, it felt like camp. So we didn't want it to be called after school, so that when we refer to it, we want to refer to it as the name in which they titled it, so that the kids have taken ownership in it as well, because a lot of the sites actually had the kids vote on the name that they wanted. Their enrollment is at 75 and their average daily attendance is 55. And this is another site that at one time we had in the 80s, and then some situations with quarantines, and the parents finally said, I'm going to keep them out for a little bit, but it was even higher, and we had to add some staff there as well. You can see the kids reading to each other there, and in the flyer that you guys have, I did mention the 5th and 1st grade reading mentorship program, which is a piece that Somersville added that I was completely thrilled to hear about and learn about when I was down there. The 5th grade and 1st grade, it's not just 5th grade reading to 1st grade, 1st grade's reading to 5th grade, and they're developing a true, almost like a big brother, little brother concept. And so it's been a really good piece for those kids, and to see the 5th graders that may even be struggling being able to read to some of those 1st graders and build their own confidence up. It's been a really good piece that they've added in. And I like the quote that was on that last slide. And this little guy, you just have to know, but he says, I like everything. You can't just pick one. So I really like that when they sent that out. But they're doing a lot of good things. The improvements and supports that are there are not just academics. The enrichment that's been added, but most of all, the making an impact. And I think that's coming through a lot of the community supports there. They've been able to build relationships not only with student to student in like the mentorship program, but the students with the staff. And that's key, because these kids, we've read all of the research that says they just need someone to feel connected to. And these children, when you walk in any of the sites, you can bet that they feel connected to at least one of those staff members in a very positive way. But outside of that is the relationships that they've built with the parents and the community members and even the business partners. So I think that it's definitely building that sense of community and culture within the school that is very much needed right now for all of us, especially post-pandemic. But my thought is just they're making a difference in so many aspects. And so I really appreciate all of the staff, all of their hard work, and all of the programming that's going on there. But if you have questions, feel free to ask, but I am going to ask them to come up. Jennifer Altizer is our site coordinator from Golly River and doing a wonderful job there of building that program. Do you want to give these out to me?
Absolutely.
Okay, I thought she might, sorry. Not that I don't want to hand it to you, but I'll let you have them.
I want to make sure we get pictures.
Okay. Do you guys want to go back?
And appreciate it, and thank you. Appreciate all that you do.
Hang on a second.
Leslie, you want to pull up the eye maybe?
Well, if we get Melissa clean her phone.
Yeah, my phone, okay, so now, Mr. Amy, now you have to step over this way. You're the only one we can't see there. Mr. Berry, maybe just a smidge.
She's so picky.
Well, try to get everybody in there. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Jennifer. Good to see you.
You do.
The next one is Misty Koger from Somersville Elementary School.
Congratulations. Appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you.
Okay.
Gotta be able to see
Mr.
the
Amy, you're going to have to step over one way or the other. Can't see you at all. Still can't see you.
Phone's in the way.
Tiptoe. Let me do this. Okay, I think I have everybody now. Okay.
Thank you for your work.
And next, except for Cherry River, Christy Bodiford is their site coordinator, but Susan Neff is here for us, and she teaches their English language arts component and has been wonderful to step in when we've had some corn.
I was going to say, I do.
Yes. She's been a great
site coordinator.
But she is doing a wonderful job filling in.
You do a good job filling in, so you're going to accept this for her.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, believe it or not, I have everybody in there. Okay.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
And this is just brief, it's 2 minutes of some of the things that you can see when you actually are on site at these 3 after-school programs.
seems like a lot of this is working in well with their new CTE and, you know, finding things they like to do. You know? And also the interest adds more to their school enjoyment and learning.
And I've not walked in a building where you see a kid upset after school, because it feels like it did over the summer. So that's a good thing, a very good thing. So.
This Journey of Hope program that you have going on at Cherry River, I think it is that right?
It's actually it's at 2 sites currently. It's at Cherry River and Somersville Elementary School. It will be at Gully River, but the lady that has been hired officially isn't released for contract from Fayette County until January, so we're waiting on that to get rolling there. But we will get that training as soon as she's into the county.
I think that is a good positive thing for kids, an opportunity to receive some additional counseling help or whatever they might need at those various sites. So I'm just very impressed with what you all are doing, and thank you for doing it.
You've done a wonderful job.
It's there. It's all of the ladies that were up here. It's them. So
There's like 3 schools here. Like, what about the other schools? Do they have any after-school programs?
They have hours of allotment that Title I funding has covered, and Dr. Lee can speak more to that if she'd like, but they have so many hours that we're able to pay stipends for some of the teachers to provide some of the same services. This grant is a large grant, and it's a 5-year grant. So these schools specifically were written for based on need. So there may be opportunities in the future to write for other schools, but these are the 3 schools that have been written for in these 5-year 21st century grants at this point.
What year are we in of those 5 years?
Cherry River's at year 5, the other 2 schools are at year 2.
So, okay, good. And you have opportunity to renew or apply again. You may not get the grant, but you have opportunity to apply again
The
for
opportunity.
Cherry River, so let's hope that goes through.
Yes, and that would be a collaborative conversation to have with Save the Children, and making sure that staffing would be available and those kinds of things that we will be having.
All the RFPs have not come out yet for
Right.
what 21st Century is going to fund yet.
Yes.
So we're anxiously awaiting.
Good.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Good job, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
Wonderful job.
Ready for TIS updates?
STEM, yes, TIS or STEM or whatever.
We just got acronyms for everything.
That's right.
As you know, the last several months, you guys have been looking at those bills to pay, and everything says STEM lab or STEM equipment. So these guys are going to be able to give you a brief synopsis on what's happening out in the schools, where, and how their positions are helping move that forward. So I think Mr. Lynch is the first speaker. He is our TIS that's assigned to Golly River, and then I'll let the others introduce themselves as they come up.
And this will be brief. We were promised we would do this brief. The STEM labs are up and going, I think, in most schools. I know we've had a little bit there's some issue at Cherry River just because of the rooms not being available at this time because of construction and some different things going on. But they are available to all the students. And I know other TISs have inventoried this, and everything we have is available for a teacher to sign out. You know, we have the spreadsheets, we have a way for the teacher to sign it out, to take it back to their classroom if they want to use it in small group, or whatever the case may be. Some things we have classroom sets, some things we have small group things, just depending on what we're looking at, what we're doing. We'll talk a little bit about the benefits of STEM, and I think it really fits into what we're trying to do at the high school. I've not obviously seen the presentation before, but STEM allows a student to discover things that they may be interested in. The studies are showing that the sooner they see these activities, the more likely they are to be interested in them. Instead of waiting till their 9th grade or whatever, as a freshman, to see what some of these things might be, the STEM labs give them opportunity to see, to explore anything that might be in the sciences and the technologies and engineering or in the mathematical fields. And it's all on a hands-on basis. That's the best part I think about the STEM labs. You don't just walk into a STEM lab and get a sheet of paper and say, fill this out. It's all hands-on. They get to experiment with it and get to use their abilities and develop their abilities to in cognitive type endeavors with and they also learn to fail, which I think is a really awesome thing, because if you're working on a program, it may not work the first time, but you learn, well, I learned this time and I can apply this and I can make this work. So they have the opportunity, and it's not a negative thing, to have something not work. They gain knowledge from it, they grow, their knowledge is growing, and it's okay to try it again, they get it right, and then the satisfaction level's up here, as opposed to, I just did it. So, I'm sorry, I probably talked longer than I should have.
Okay, is it my turn? All right, professional development. My name is Amy Webb. I serve Zila Elementary, Birch River Elementary, Nicholas County Career and Technical Center, Nicholas County Cadet Learning Center, and Somersville Middle School. So I have 5 schools. I'm all over the county. But this summer, all of us TISs got to participate in what was called the Apple Learning Coach Program. It was the very first cohort Apple had used this year. This cohort was for TISs like us to work with teachers, to learn different methods. We got to interact with other TISs in the country and learn methods and ways that what was successful, what failed. We submitted a portfolio journal, and we were all successfully approved with our Apple Learning Coach, and we received 43.5 continuing education hours. So it was a lot of work jam-packed into 4 months, maybe. I think we had 6 journals we had to complete. Yeah, the summer. And then while we were doing that, we were also attending the West Virginia State Technology Conference in July. And then we were also attending some webinars through Smarty Ants, Level Set, McGraw-Hill, Clever, anything that we could get our hands on to help our teachers this school year. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Samantha Murphy, and I'm the TIS for Nicholas County High School, Mount Nebo Elementary, Mount Lookout Elementary, and Glade Creek Elementary. And I'm going to talk about the Apple Teacher Program. This is a program that we had last year where teachers had the opportunity to earn a $500 stipend. and they co-planned with us 2 Apple lessons, and then some of them even had us come in and co-teach with them. And it was a wonderful opportunity to build those relationships with our teachers from a coaching perspective. And then they presented student evidence, and they also earned their badges to become an Apple teacher on the MacBook and on the iPad. And some of those required a little bit of support to be able to earn those badges and to get that certification. And that was another way that we were able to build those relationships with our teachers. So this year what we did was we took all of those exemplary lesson plans that the teachers did last year as a part of this program, and we built a team on Microsoft Teams, and it's the Nicholas County Teaching Resources team. And we've housed all those lesson plans, all the examples of student work, and it's a wonderful place where teachers in our county can go to find Nicholas County teacher written, delivered lesson plans. So if we have new teachers coming in, and they've not done anything with the iPads before, this gives them a starting point. And then those other teachers who want to grow and push themselves to kind of go up, the ladder to the next step, this gives them a place to go to get some ideas. And we have it organized by different channels. So we have channels for like, early elementary, older elementary kids, middle, high, and then by content and CTE. And then we also have some TIS created and researched, compiled resources there, like videos and handouts and things like that pertaining to technology for our teachers, just as a little resource bank for them.
And hello, I'm Kimberly Cook, Technology Integration Specialist at Somersville Elementary. And I'm going to elaborate just a little bit more on what Amy and Samantha said and what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. As TISs, we get the awesome opportunity, the privilege to work with all the teachers in the county on a daily basis. And we get to help them with technology, with STEM-based project, co-planning, and co-teaching. And here's some examples of what co-teaching might look like. On the right, you will see 2 teachers setting up green screens. So after collaborating with them and co-planning, we helped them, we supported them within the classroom, basically to create some engaging lessons. On the left here, you will see a student-based product using Chatterpix, where the kids got to put their voice with any picture, and we chose Ronald Reagan, but their voice then came out as the mouth moved. We do this, we provide school-based professional development like this, like green screen and iMovie and Chatterpix, based on the needs within the school, based on what teachers want and what standards they are working with in the classroom. And some great benefits of that are that there's more choice with professional learning at the school level. It promotes more participation with the teachers because they're getting to choose, and they get greater use of the STEM lab and of using the iPads.
I'm Leslie Boffman. I'm the TIS for Panther Creek Elementary, Cherry River Elementary, Cherry River Elementary, Richwood Middle, and Richwood High School. I have my office at Panther Creek, so I travel back and around. I'm talking about the county level professional development. At the beginning of the school year, we did have professional development available for all of the teachers to attend, and then we had a STEM playground where the teachers also got to go around and look at the different resources that we had, and they could see what was available that they could use in their classrooms. We also had, just a couple weeks ago, wasn't it, ProScope training online. And what a ProScope is a digital microscope that hooks to the iPad. So we had the training for the teachers, and then we have distributed those ProScopes to all of those teachers in the county. So each secondary school got a set of 6 of those microscopes to use in their school. We're also doing a literacy campaign right now with the Level Set, that's based on the Level Set assessment, and it's promoting literacy in all of our secondary schools, so getting the students reading to increase their Lexile level. So, do you guys have any questions for us?
I do. Well, first of all, I'm really glad that the superintendent is having you all to come in and talk to us, because I know as a former superintendent, I'm glad to know what you're doing, what's happening in our schools. And this is very enlightening, and I greatly appreciate the work that you're doing in all these schools and the importance of technology integration specialist, because it's like we've been on a new frontier for some time, and we have some people that want to stay on the old frontier, back on the farm, and we need to bring them along. So I find this very exciting. But what I think, as I'm just thinking, looking to the future, the value of you people, and I'm going to introduce you all to somebody here in just a minute. I think you're going to have to work together as a very good team. Mrs. Chenoweth, would you come forward?
We love her.
It's already working.
We are, yeah. She sends us emails on the regular.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm just saying, I'm hearing this, and you're talking about, how you're working with teachers, and then the choices that, that you're giving them, the lesson plans that you're putting out there, how this can tie together with the concept of what we're doing at the high school. And so I'm glad you all are on board. I knew you would be, so anyway, but I'm excited to hear about that, and I look forward to the work that's going to be done to help teachers as we move even further on out into the frontier with this new school, with these new schools. So, but thank you for that. Now, others might have questions. But
I probably wear them out with the most stuff.
No, we love what you
Yes. Yes, you make life easier.
Hers also has the background of a KISS. She also has that. So.
Yeah.
And Dr. Penix, this is an awesome team in the fact that, yes, they know the technology piece, but they are able to relate it to actually instructional standards. They have the academic piece, and they also have the curriculum understanding of knowing what good teaching looks like. So they're excellent with blended learning and how we can move forward.
Fantastic. Awesome. I mean, that's just very important, and I thank you, Dr. Lee, for that. But, others might have questions.
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I think you guys do a great job, and I really appreciate the fact that what you've learned and what you're helping the teachers with, because we've lost a lot of teachers when we went to this type of instruction, because I saw a teacher yesterday who had retired, and I said, are you going to come back and substitute some for us? We need substitute teachers. And she said no. She said, I don't want to have to learn what they're using now. I feel like I'd have to learn a whole new way to teach. But I feel like with you all, you're going to help maybe stop some of the bleeding from losing so many teachers.
When we try to meet the teacher where they're at, so we see what they're comfortable with, and we meet them where they're at. We might show them, you can just do this one small thing to make your day a little bit easier. So we meet them where they're at and help coach them along that direction. So it's not just dive in that pool and, oh my gosh, I can't swim. So we try and meet them where they're at and do those baby steps.
Relationship is huge.
Yes.
And I'm appreciative that this board agreed to hire the 3 additional TISs. When I first started, we had 2. So now we have 3. And I know our 2 original TISs said, we're not complaining, but whew, how do you cover a whole county? Yeah. So adding the additional 3, it was wise. It was a wise move that this board made, and you can tell from their presentation they do a phenomenal job.
Well, and we meet regularly as well. Like you can see, this is us getting ready for this.
I snuck in a screenshot. I was like, hey. Yeah, we've really become kind of like a little family. We love each other. We love working with each other. We give each other a hard time, but don't anybody else mess with it.
And Dr. Lee does a really good job keeping them together.
Thank you, Dr.
Some of these abbreviated titles, like STEM, what are the words we're abbreviating there?
Science.
TIS, what are the words?
Technology.
Science, technology, engineering,
And math.
And math. The A is arts. So
I've probably heard
Stand,
it
for
before.
stand.
You could make it stream and put reading in
Reading,
there.
yep, yep. Just
So it's
I like
it's
that
really
too.
everything,
Yeah.
but integrating your technology into everything,
I just see this
basically.
It's
working
more,
so well.
what we're trying to do with our new concept is basically that. It's in STEAM. It's something.
And TIS, it stands for?
Technology Integration Specialist.
Okay, that's your title.
You know, really, whenever we went
I knew you were a TIS.
to out of state to visit, you know, some of these other schools, just so we could implement some of the things that they were doing that were working. You know, this stuff's going on. I mean, we're just getting out there trying to get caught up with, you know, the way that, you know, the learning's, the direction it's headed in, and you guys did a great job.
Yes. Any further questions?
Did you say you had a digital microscope that would attach to the iPad?
Yeah, it goes to the back.
I gotta see that sometime.
I have a bunch at Cherry River. If you want to come over, I'll show them to you.
They go to the back of it. It's pretty neat.
Yep. Actually, Cherry River has their own set.
You want me to come
We
and
used
be
to,
the guinea pig?
yeah, we used a grant and bought our own set for Cherry River. So I'm excited to be able to, we have frogs, live frogs that are at Cherry River. And I took the teachers that have the frogs, I said, okay, here's your microscope. And I showed them how to use it with the frogs and, you know, be able to look at the water that came from the frogs. And the kids can actually see it. You can actually use the camera app on the iPad so you can do video or still pictures.
And if you don't want to touch the frogs, there's actually an augmented reality app where
So you can do it
touch
with the
and
snake.
swipe.
Roy can get you some
I
snakes.
can handle it.
I know he was thinking about
You can
that.
have, you can have it.
Roy's got those snakes' names.
I'm not a fan, I'm sorry. But I do, I have a bunch at Cherry River if you want to come over anytime. Just let me know.
Great.
And-
I want to do that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, any other questions? Guys, thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank
And
you.
look forward to your future work with Mrs. Chenoweth as we move forward in the new school concepts there. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mrs. Gregory is item F under discussion and presentation, update on 2021-22 school calendar. I think you have copies on your desk in front of you. Oh, let me just sign a couple of those.
We have two options, and the first option starts August 8th for teachers, August 15th for students. Last day for students is May 19th of 2023, and the last contract day for teachers is May 31st. Option 2 begins August 15th for teachers and students, August 22nd of 2022. Last day for students is May 26th, and the last day of teachers' contracts is June 7th, 2023. And I was asked to do these calendars this way because of construction purposes. They needed most of June available to them.
Now, these will be put out to the staff?
Yes, as soon as we have a link for them, Mrs. Adkins is going to put them on Facebook, and Mr. Henshaw is going to have a link ready for that, and I'll get it to the Chronicle as quick as I can.
And so the calendars are to fit the construction that's going on, particularly at Cherry River?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Mrs. Gregory? Mrs. Gregory, thank you. We are now back to action items. Action item F is the approval of the turf project for Nicholas County High School.
No, we have to back up to E.
E is, you want to table that?
Yes, we need to table.
Oh, okay.
Approval of Nicholas County Schools,
Yeah.
we're going to table that one. And item F is Mr. Roberts and the turf at Nicholas County High School. Kim?
Yes, sir.
What do we table?
E, I think.
STEM.
Dual credit policy.
STEM.
We're going to table E, yes.
So you see on the agenda a turf for the Nicholas County High School. That's something, of course, I'll let Rocky speak about it. He knows far more about this than I do. But we did have a G-Max rating on it, and it came back at within acceptable range. It's, you know, it's actually extended well beyond its guaranteed time frame, you know, for it to last. And there's just no way that we're going to be able to continue to use this field without returfing it. So anyway, I asked Rocky to review it. One of the other things that we're doing, we're going to be, he has a plan in place to, which this is not on the agenda, but he has a plan in place to have it painted, you know, have everything done to just kind of improve the image of the stadium at Nicholas County High School. So anyway, I'll let him speak about the turf.
All right, that turf is 14 years old. The first team to play on was the fall of '07. And at that time period, they said you should get about 10 years out of it. And we just finished year 14. The grass, or pile height they call it, is down to about 1.25 inches or so. Starts out 2.5 inches. It does need replaced. If we're looking to have kids to play on, it does need replaced. So that's what we're here to talk about tonight. But it is 14 years old. We've gotten good life out of it.
They use it for soccer too, don't they?
Oh gosh, they use it for soccer, band, summer soccer leagues. The Little League football gets on it.
Yeah, I remember when we...
all kinds of activities.
When we put that in, they said 10 years, and we did have a fund
Yeah,
that we saved or put money in to each.
Yeah, we put a little bit of money in as we could, about $20,000 a year over the past 14 years.
So we have about $173,000, I think, in that fund.
So you have money set aside to take care of it then?
For some of it. For some of it. And then we have...
We have some facility monies left over, about $100,000 there that we could put towards it, and then possibly $25,000 out of the current levy out of facilities that we can use. So we'll be right close to having about $300,000 when it's all said.
Is that facilities money that's allocated to Nicholas County High School?
Part of it, the part of it out of the new levy will be Nicholas County High School, and then the Somersville Middle School had some facility monies from the previous levy that we will use, and then the other $175,000, it's right at $174,000 actually, is just monies that we've set aside over the last 14 years. How much is it going to cost total?
Total, everything together, you're looking at about $424,000. That's including new grooming machine, the goal post while we're there, go ahead and give them a fresher coat of paint. The walkways going across the field have to be redone because they are flaking up. And also, I was here 14 years ago doing this. The curb walkways are 3 foot wide, and we're going to reduce it down to about 4 inches due to safety purposes. And but that's everything that's out there possible to do, roughly.
Well, now, there's going to be a new football stadium to play and a practice field. What's going to happen to this in 2 years when this is completed? October of 2024.
We can continue to use it and play on it. You know, our students need a place to play on the field, and money has been allocated. It's been in place to have the replacement done, and it's time to do the replacement. So it doesn't mean that we can't continue to use this field after the new schools are built.
The new field won't be ready in 2 years.
No, it will not.
It'll be like...
Well, you know, the October of 2024.
Yeah. We're at 2022. That's 2 years.
We're-
Actually, be about 3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
22, 23,
Yeah.
24.
Last part of 24.
Well, not only football, but soccer is a growing sport in this area.
Well, the
Little Bears use it also.
Well, the county, people spend their levy to make sure that these things are done, so I don't know why we wouldn't want to service our kids.
There's a soccer field going to be on Glade. There's going to be 7 different fields, athletic fields. And we're going to put $424,000 into turf on
Yes. It's needed. We have a high number of students that use it, and yes, that's absolutely what I'm asking for.
what would it cost to dig it up and plant grass?
More. He has numbers for that also. So it would cost about $300,000 more to replace it with sod.
But this is using a lot of the money that was allocated for these schools, and this is what they're using their money for, is to go towards
Absolutely.
The facility monies can be used in anything to renovate or improve or expand the school facilities, which would, the stadium would qualify for either Somersville Middle School or Nicholas County High School.
Is this the facilities money that were out of the levy, that
Yes.
each school set aside a certain amount
For that
every
school.
year?
Yes, for that
This
school.
is
And
where that's coming from.
we rubberized the track, and so we used some of those facility monies from Somersville Middle School to do that in the spring as well. So
This past spring, yes.
and then some of the improvements we're doing at Richwood High School Stadium, we're using some of their facility monies over there to do those as well. So we try to use that, get as much bang for our buck as we can, and make this most impactful and useful for the students and the community.
Well, I think you said a key point there. It's, we got our good out of it.
Sure do.
And if you go to an activity, people in the community will say, well, when is this going to be updated, remodeled?
Yes, people are definitely asking that.
Well, at the LSIC meetings, we hear from people that need things all over. And we're going to put $424,000 into AstroTurf on a field when it's going to be replaced in a few years.
I'm not sure.
I don't know how you can use all those fields.
I'm not sure what areas, because our facilities are in great shape. So I'm not sure what you're referencing about all the things that they're needing, because we've addressed concerns. I'm not sure what you're referencing.
I'm referencing a stadium at Glade Creek and a practice field and 5 other athletic fields.
You said there was all kinds of needs on the county, so I'm not really sure what you're referencing. The
All
only thing
kinds
I
of-
can say is that there is a need for Nicholas County High School students and Somersville Middle School students to have a safe playing surface.
The actual stadium, Nicholas County High School Stadium up on 19, we own that, correct?
Yes.
And we don't own the area around it, but we own that. We're responsible for it.
Yes.
The upkeep of it. And we have at least 3 more years of use out of it. And then the potential use by, there's others that use it as well. And that's going to continue to be used in the community. We're not going to just shut it up when we move to the new school, correct?
Correct. It will be something that we can use for additional practice fields. We can have travel ball tournaments. There's lots of things that can be done with that field.
Band?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, band competitions and stuff. But it really just boils down to, our kids need a safe playing surface. And we did have the GMAX rating done because of my concern for us being 4 years beyond the recommended replacement. And with being 4 years beyond, that's why we had the GMAX rating done. And you can't put a dollar amount on a child who could be injured on an unsafe playing surface.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of money, but you think if we don't fix it, some kid gets hurt, you could get sued for a lot more than that. You know, and you're responsible,
Yes.
because it's a public facility.
And because we know that it's not safe, and if we fail to act, that's beyond negligence. That's puts us at significant legal liability.
Well, it is safe. I mean, it passed the GMAX test.
It's safe this year. It's safe this year.
Right, I didn't want anyone to get confused that it's not safe. It is safe at this point.
This year. We had a GMAX rating for this year.
3 years, we're done.
Well, like I said, I can only.
It sounds to me like the cost of this, $424,000, 75% of the cost of this is coming from funds that are allocated for those specific schools, Nicholas County High School and Somersville Middle School. Just like we're using money, we use the money from Somersville Middle School assigned specifically to them, can't be assigned someplace else, to them. We've used to do some of the track work. Same thing we're doing over at Richwood on the field. We're using the monies that are assigned to those schools. We're using the monies that are assigned, 75% of the funding is coming from monies assigned specifically to those schools. Correct?
Correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I did speak with the principals, and both principals were in agreement with using the funds on that site. That's something I do like. I like to give the principals a voice. And I asked them if they thought if they would be okay if the levy funds was used on that, and they said absolutely, they needed a safe playing surface.
Is this, the money is allocated, it is on is it on enrollment figures? Is it, or is it
Those
actual
funds,
school? I forget. It's actual school.
I'd have to go back and look to see how we allocated the previous levy funds. I think it was on square footage of each school location.
Oh, okay.
And the new levy allocated $25,000 to each school, and then it gave $150,000 over the course of the levy at basically the discretion of the maintenance director, where to prioritize needs and use those funds at whatever school needed it. So that's how we drive at the numbers from the previous levy and the current levy.
And we talked to the principals.
So the money that's going to be used there from the funds are in place. That's what you put the $20,000 each year aside for that specific purpose, right?
For approximately. We couldn't do it, wasn't able to do it every single year, but we try to do $20,000 a year just for turf. And over the course of the 14 years, we've saved $175,000 towards its replacement. Then we have approximately $100,000 of facility money for Somersville Middle School. And then we could use $25,000 of Nicholas County High School's facility money in its current levy, if you guys chose.
Where's the other $124,000 come from?
That would have to come from some type of contingency account.
It would also be nice for the community when they have, like they used to have here, playoffs. Or could even help the economy.
Speaking of playoffs, I think this new school at Glade Creek is going to be geared to be able to host playoff tournaments and things like that.
It will, and having the additional fields will not hurt, because we will try to attract more business into Nicholas County through having travel ball, having multiple tournaments. I think there's a lot we can do. There's definitely a lot we can do. It's not like we're going to abandon the field. And we've been so consumed with the new schools, designing, getting everything put together. The turf should have been replaced, or could have been replaced, 4 years ago. But it was still within its limit. I mean, it was outside of the 10-year recommended use, but it was still safe. And that's why, like I said, this year I grew so concerned. I said, let's have it measured. Had it come back unsafe, we would have really had an issue. But thankfully, it did come back safe, and for this year. And but it needs to be replaced. I mean, like I said, you can't put money on a student's life with an injury that could occur.
Well, also, Kevin, it used to be when you had money set aside you couldn't take, because I've tried it. You can't take money from one and direct it somewhere else when it's set aside just for that. Is that-
Right.
Yeah, well, as I remember, the board voted on saving, I mean, that was something that the board voted on just as they did on turfing. I mean, that was a part of the deal, to save that extra money to returf it when it needed.
You voted on that every year, as we said, as we put together your budget, you agreed to put that money aside.
But I think we had a spatial agreement at the time it was turfed, that we would do that, save that money for that purpose.
Any further discussion in regard to the turf of Nicholas County High School football stadium? Thank you. Approval of the MOU with the City of Somersville for the old main gym.
Yes, we are in the gym longer than we had expected. And being in the gym, of course, it causes, there needs to be some it just, the upkeep, the maintenance of it. Yes, thank you, Libby. So the maintenance is something that, because we're there much longer than we had expected to be. The mayor didn't want to charge us anything for the old main gym. And, but we have been, this board has been paying $2,500 a month for utilities, because once they averaged out the utility cost, that was about the average. So in a sense, it was rent, but it was really rent that covered utilities. So now he needs to replace the gym floor, which our kids will get the benefit from, because they're going to be using it for a few more years. He'd like to replace it, I think he said this summer. So he wants to replace the gym floor, and in doing so, we need to look at maintenance costs. So he sent an amendment to the rental agreement to increase the rent from $2,500 a month to $4,000 a month, and that over the 3-year period should give about $50,000, which would be half of what it would cost to replace the gymnasium floor. Chances are good. I can't guarantee. I think that FEMA will look favorably on this rental, and we will ask FEMA to reimburse us that for the dollar amount, just as we're getting reimbursed for the $2,500 a month now. So hopefully they will. If they don't, then it would stay at the $2,500 range. But I just think it's fair, it's reasonable. It's not something that he even wanted to request, but it's something we've been using the facility, and we've used it a lot.
We've been using it the last 5 years.
Yeah.
We use it all day long, don't we?
Oh, we use it. Oh, yeah.
And
In the
nights for
evenings,
games.
yes. Weekends, yes. It's gotten a lot of use.
So the rent, or the cost, the $2,500 that's being paid now, that is refundable from FEMA, correct?
Right. We get that back from FEMA.
Okay, that's refundable from FEMA, and that's not a part of the grant to build new schools.
No.
That's a part of the original dealings
Yes.
with renting property so we can put these
Yes.
kids in schools right now.
Yes.
So, and you're going to ask them to increase that to $4,000.
We will ask them to increase it to $4,000. There is no guarantee that they'll increase it to $4,000, but I believe that we can show that it is a reasonable rental fee for the square footage of the use, which is something they measure it by, to request reimbursement. And again, that will not come out of our current school fund. It will come out of the fund that is for the rental.
From FEMA.
From FEMA,
How much
yes.
do we pay St. Luke's for the use of that gym?
Not very much. It's very minimal, and we pay St. Luke's based on usage.
Oh, okay.
So it's each time we use it, so we pay. But yeah, they are very very generous with us.
Any further questions in regard to the MOU with the City of Somersville on the old main gym floor? Hearing none, item H, approval of the MOU with Camden Golly Medical Center, attachment 4.
This is just the annual rental agreement. And as I read through it, I didn't notice anything different. Meg Hickey told me that it wasn't there wasn't any changes, that it was just changing the dates for a year later, you know, giving us till December of next year. So in looking at an annual renewal for where they've been very gracious to let us use the Beaver Elementary School for our now being housing our Richwood Middle School students. And the campus, their property is where we have the Richwood High School campus. So again, they've been very gracious in allowing us to continue to stay there. And they do not charge us rent. We've put about $1 million in the facility, but that was because we needed to do that to get it up and ready and habitable for our students. But they don't charge us anything.
Was that money refunded back from FEMA to upgrade the
I'm not sure if we got all that back. We may have. Did we get all that money back?
for upgrading?
What was it?
It was Beaver when we went in and made all of the changes to get it ready for our students and all the things we replaced and all the, when we did a lot of work.
Yes, did we get it back? I'm not sure.
I can't
know
remember
it
on
is
that.
classified as an expense to get the facility ready. I can't imagine why they would not honor that. They fronted 75% of what we turned in, and then it'll be audited, and then they'll decide whether or not that was appropriate use. Based upon what we know, we feel like that's going to be reimbursed.
But in the beginning, when we were doing it, we just really weren't sure, but we were making sure, I mean, we just had to make sure the kids had a place to go.
Regardless, we had to do it.
Yeah, we had to do it.
We had to
I
incur.
think he did. Kevin, Mr. Berry would like a little bit of heat turned up.
Okay. I can do that.
We're trying to save money.
I know that.
Not enough fire in here.
That was by design, so we wouldn't be here very long.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't.
I'm chasing dogs.
Any further questions in regard to item H, approval of the MOU with Camden on Golly? Item I is approval of the MOU with Nicholas County 4-H and Mason-Dixon Boys.
Well, I don't know if Tracy will want to speak to that, but there's an opportunity in working with the Nicholas County 4-H and the Mason-Dixon Boys. They actually do chainsaw carving, and they're willing to come out. They're going to do chainsaw carving at each of our schools. They're going to offer an apprenticeship for students, and I think anywhere maybe from 4 to 6 students. And there will be, like I said, the chainsaw safety and different types of certifications available for our students. And then as a culminating event, our kids that are in the apprenticeship program will go to the state fair and demonstrate their skills. It's typically about $46,000. And my friend Tracy did a fantastic job. It's not going to cost us a dime. So they want to be here. They want to work with us, and they will be getting donations from businesses and stuff. I know there's some from outside the area that's already donated to them. So anyway, it's just a little something extra in our attempt to increase certification, student interest, excitement, interested in forestry products. So
I think we need to send a thank you card to SESC for sending her our way. We appreciate them sending you.
Yeah, I
She's
think
wonderful.
when we had that meeting here with West Virginia Extension the other day,
Yes.
we talked about that, bringing that program in.
yes.
Is that like when you're going into Somersville? There's a yard out there that's got a bear that's carved out of a tree. Is that something like that?
Oh, they would be doing that, yes.
Yeah, I mean, they cut the
They're not here. I forget where they're located.
It's John Lewis's parents'
Yeah.
property.
Right. They got all the big, nice big trees.
But yeah, Mr. Berry, that was as a result of the meeting that we attended that you were at.
Yeah.
That's what ended up bringing them in.
Exactly.
Right, and I was there because the representative,
Yes.
question, the
Yeah.
extension office.
Just having an opportunity to work for the Extension Office is fantastic because they can bring all kinds of resources and grant funding that we would not even have availability to do. In addition to that, it also supports our career exploration piece as it relates to forestry products here in West Virginia through our agriculture, and it supports Dr. Tietrich's idea of classroom beyond the walls. So oftentimes we don't have that program in our buildings, but this is something that we can do to showcase that and to still build student interest.
Yeah, do those students compete at, will they compete at the state fair?
They won't compete, but they'll
Just
demonstrate. They'll do
demonstrate.
demonstrations.
Now, are there other counties doing this also?
Oh, yes, Fayette County's doing it, and of course in Webster,
Yeah.
as you might know, Webster
Right,
County's
sure.
doing it, but yeah.
Yeah, they were the world champions.
Yeah.
For a long time.
So we think it could be exciting, especially, one of the things that I think is really exciting is the Richwood area with the wood choppers. And we really don't do anything with wood chopping that I'm aware of. You know, like Webster County has the big wood chopping events, the big wood chopping festival. I don't know of anything that we do in this county with the wood chopping. So I just think bringing that element in and getting people excited about it, I think will be a good thing for us.
Yeah, there's an art element too, the
Yes.
sculpture part.
It's all about engaging students and exciting them.
New activity.
Yeah.
Further questions in regard to item I there? Approval of the MOU with Nicholas County 4-H and Mason-Dixon Boys. Thank you all. Board members, I draw your attention to action item 5. We've already voted on A, B, C, D. We're tabling E, so mark through that, please. Now F, we're going to be voting in a moment on F, G, H, and I. Those last 4. I'd like to ask board members, is there anyone that you want to pull out to vote on individually?
H.
You need to abstain from that one?
Pardon me?
You need to abstain on that one
Yes, sir.
because you're a member of the board? Okay, we'll pull out H and vote on that separately. Any others? Thank you. Let's consider item H first, which is the approval of the MOU with Camden on Golly Medical Center, Addendum 4. Approval of that agreement. Item H, is there a motion to approve action item H as presented?
So moved.
Mrs. Kaufman moves. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Mr. Berry seconds. Any further discussion in regard to the MOU with Camden on Golly? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Any abstentions? Mr. Moose will abstain. Madam Secretary, let the record reflect that board members Amy, Berry, Kaufman, and Penix voted in favor of item H, and Mr. Moose abstained for reasons of involvement with that center. All right, then we're going to move back now, and we're going to look at items F, G, and I. F, G, and I. Is there a motion to approve action items F, G, and I as presented?
So moved.
Mr. Amick moves. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Mr. Berry seconds. Any further discussion in regards to action items F, G, and I? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Madam Secretary, let the record reflect that unanimously approved. Consent items. Mr. Hess, Finance. Mr. Hess asked me to announce to the board that he says he can do this in less than 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah. You're the second person that told me I only had 3 minutes. Did you guys formally approve the A through E? Was that in the first part?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Just
E
wanted to
was
make-
tabled.
Yeah,
Okay.
E was tabled, A
Okay.
through D was approved. Amy, Barry, and everyone voted for it.
Okay, just want to make sure. So payment of current invoice is the first item on finance. if you have any questions there. I handed out a few that we cut checks for today. And so we will be mailing those checks tomorrow. As you'll notice, there were several to ZMM. We received several installments back from FEMA on our requisitions that we've had out. Also, there's a check in there that I will on the first pay app for the Glade Creek site as well.
Mr. Hess, these are invoices that we're paying tonight from past months, correct, for ZMM?
They're services that was rendered in September and October.
And so we will be expecting these on a monthly basis, and they'll be in different amounts, of course, but we should be expecting these as they get approved finally. I mean, we're getting these paid up to, what, September, October?
Yes.
So the state is holding, we were held up about 60 days, I guess, on payment of these.
It's approximately 30 to 60 days, more along the lines of about 45 days. This looks like to be the average. And so, yes, when I see that they're coming due or coming near, I'll go ahead and get the checks processed and approved. So as soon as we get the monies, we can send that out.
Kevin, I can't find it right now, but there was on the payments, there was one to the school out Friends and
Fund.
Yeah, fund, collaborative classroom.
Mm-hmm.
What are those? I mean, there was a bill for that.
So we reimburse them. We have a preschool collaborative there, and so we reimburse them for their catered meals to our students.
Okay, for the preschool then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That Dominion, $10,000, is that for a month? I know that's all locations probably, but is that what we pay a gas bill a month?
I'd have to look at and see. I can't remember. Typically, we get billings every 30 days, though. Yes. So.
Sounds like not running in a hard winter yet.
They may have raised your price.
Well, our fuel bill runs. I'll have to look at my budget, but it's a couple $100,000 a year. So
for the gas.
Yeah, for fuel. Yeah, electric's about $300,000 a year. So it's pricey every month.
This time of year.
Yeah. Actually, fuel might be more than that. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know fuel and electric it's very.
Don't we still have a school or two that uses fuel? Do we have any schools that still burn the fuel oil?
No.
Coal.
No.
Have
So
coal.
natural gas.
Coal? Okay.
One school with coal, natural gas, and a couple schools that are
Rocky
just all
knows.
electric.
Okay.
You've got one that burns coal and two that burns bottled gas.
Bottle gas.
Yeah, from a barrel.
That's true.
Who does the
Mount Lookout.
coal?
Mount Evo.
Mount Nebo.
Mount Lookout and Zila do the bottled gas.
Any other questions on payment of current invoices? We have some transfers and supplements. If you have any questions there, I'd be happy to answer, or I'll go through those individually if you'd like. The biggest supplement there is for $11.1 million, and that's round 3 of the stimulus monies.
So you received that?
No, we have not received it. It's on a reimbursement basis.
Oh, it's on reimbursement, okay.
Yeah, so we'll request that once we spend.
Are you through with the second round yet?
Oh, no.
No?
No.
So we can't start the third when you get there?
You can start the third.
Oh, you can still
Yeah,
start it?
third, yeah. Yeah, I believe we already have expenses on the third.
It'll be bad when stimulus money runs out.
Yeah, we're just, we have projects in each of the first, second, and third. I think first is about done, if not completely, and then they expire 1 year apart, so we'll have our round 2 done here.
What was that first one, 1.2 or something like that? Was it 1.2 the first one?
Round 3, the first one, I think so. I think that was close.
The second one was
3 million or 3 or 4
and the
million.
third's 11.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about, I added at one time, I thought it was around $17 million for Nichols County. Next item is Treasurer's Report for November, if you have any questions on that. Biggest thing up there is our general revenue fund. Our collections at the county level is about, they're right at 73%, and we're about halfway through the school year, so that's good. We have received about 37% of our total budget for the year, but we do expect to receive that full amount by June.
I have a question for Rocky. The school buses that were involved in accidents, have you replaced those yet, or?
We got the money back for both buses as of today, but checks came in. One check was for 16,000 something, one check was for 37,000, something like that. New bus, 110,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's not gonna cover a new bus.
And we've got 2 of them ordered. They should be here March, April, something like that.
Did we have money set up aside for a new bus anyway?
Yeah, the state, Kevin is one I did about it. The state sets aside a lot of money every year to buy new buses with. So that's set aside online generally just to buy new buses with. That's not out of your contingency.
No, that's about $360,000 a year, so they'll buy about 3.5 buses.
Okay.
3 buses.
And we're okay then there?
Yes.
Because I was thinking we wasn't gonna get out of those buses what they were the value to us.
Well, item B is an out-of-state travel request for Roger Akers to take the Nichols County Band to Virginia Tech on January the 21st through the 23rd.
It meets our policy, right, the way they're traveling? Does it meet our policy? I'm sure it does.
This is for Honor Band, they go every year. Yeah, it's just.
Oh, it's Honor Band?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not the whole band then?
No, it's
Is
just
it-
members.
3? Was it just 3 students or?
3 students.
You have to audition for it, so it's very selective.
Yeah. I think it's 3 students. But he would know to have insurance.
I thought the Richmond High School band went too, something else.
Yeah, it says 3.
Oh, well, it was in the minutes somewhere already. Maybe it was in there.
It's on that form.
It was 3 students.
Oh, yeah, for the form, yeah.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Hess in regard to finance, item A, and out-of-state travel, item B? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve consent items A and B as presented? So moved. Mr. Amick moves. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Mrs. Kaufman seconds. Any further discussion in regard to consent items A and B? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Madam Secretary, motion passes unanimously. Mrs. Atkins, Madam Superintendent, board members, is there a need for an executive session to discuss personnel matters?
No.
Okay. That was a unison no.
Well, so we keep having that 5th grade teacher slot open at Cherry River. We just like to have a sub in that.
There's a
position.
sub in it now, yes,
Okay.
and it's going to be reposted. So you have the updated personnel agenda. I'll read over the changes. A copy has been made available to the public and members of the press. We're going to strike the 5th grade position at Cherry River Elementary. That will be reposted. Under service, James Roach and Jennifer Daniels employing a position of substitute cook for Nicholas County Schools effective upon return of a satisfactory background check. Charlotte Brown employing a position of a substitute cook for Nicholas County Schools effective December 13th, 2021. Under professional extracurricular, Todd Russell employing a position of head football coach at Richwood High School effective upon completion of any applicable WBDE, WVSSAC requirements.
Eric Blankenship, employing the position of assistant wrestling coach at Richwood High School, effective upon completion of any applicable WBDE, WBSSAC requirements. And on page 2, you have several leave requests from employees. I will not read those aloud to protect their privacy.
Any questions from Mrs. Atkins in regards to the personnel agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the personnel agenda as presented this evening?
So moved.
Mrs. Kaufman moves. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Mr. Berry seconds. Any further discussion regarding the personnel agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Madam Secretary, motion passes unanimously. Superintendent information.
I'm all talked out.
You're talked out. I'd like to go on record saying that's the first time that's ever happened. Just kidding.
That's one, she said.
Item 9, reports. We had a very short SESC meeting. I mean, it didn't even last 10 minutes every day. Basically, just a presentation of business matters, and no programs or anything else were considered during that meeting, so there's not much to report on the SESC. Mrs. Kaufman, how about Bright Horizons?
I didn't attend the Bright Horizons meeting last week. It was basically just a prayer board meeting. Wasn't anything new discussed or should run into me on board meeting.
Okay.
Financials and all that.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Kaufman. Madam Secretary, are there any delegations signed up?
No, sir.
Thank you. Item 11, items for future agendas. Anything board members would like to have on future agendas? Hearing none. Future meetings, we have a regularly scheduled meeting on Monday, January the 3rd, 2022. Here at the board office. Then we have our last LSIC meeting, a presentation on January the 11th, and that's at Mount Lookout Elementary.
That should be 22 as well.
Yeah.
22 as well, that's right. And we'll be hearing from Mount Lookout Elementary, Mount Nebo Elementary, Zila Elementary, Birch River Elementary, and Somersville Elementary. We have a regularly scheduled meeting on Monday, January the 18th here at board office. Isn't that Tuesday, January the 18th?
Oh, yes, it is.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, you might want to change that on your calendars. Tuesday, January the Martin Luther King. Yes. We've covered all the business on our agenda this evening. Is there a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting?
So moved.
Mr. Amick moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Berry seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Madam Secretary, we're adjourned at 7:37 p.m.